We just got back from Disneyland and stayed at the Pixar Place Hotel. What are the pros? What are the cons? Is it worth your time to stay there? Stick around and we'll let you know our thoughts. Hello everybody, welcome to RTD Adventures. My name is Brian.
My name is Jacob.
And we're going to be talking about the Pixar Place Hotel today. And actually, let me change what I said just a second ago. I didn't stay there. Jacob got to stay there, but I got to spend some time hanging out with Jacob and his family at the Pixar Place Hotel. And I was, first impressions at least, pretty impressed. Why don't you tell us about like your check-in process and kind of the hotel room tour and all that?
So I'm not sure if it's like this for the other Disneyland hotels. It probably is, just to make things easier. But the nice thing about staying at a Disney park hotel is that you're able to check in through your phone. The second you step off the plane and you say, okay, we're headed to the hotel, it'll give you even like the room number. You can use your phone as a room key. I never used that feature because I forgot about it. So we walked in. They were kind of expecting us, went to the desk. It was one of the quickest check-ins I think I've ever had in a hotel. Almost no line either. I don't know if that's just because of a time that we arrived, but it was very simple. They gave us 2 key cards. Made it to our room, and it was very simple, very easy, and that's with kids.
So tell us about the room that you stayed in.
Okay, so we stayed at the typical standard room, and that's not what they consider the park view. You can pay more to have a view of Disney California Adventure, but we were surprised because when we did go into the room for the first time, we actually could see the park, and I was confused because I was thinking in my head, I didn't pay extra money for this, so in some way I thought I was cheating the system, so I kind of felt bad. But I think what they consider is like park view is way higher than we were. I think we were the 5th floor. I think like 10th floor and up they consider park view because you could probably see everything from there. We could see some palm trees in our way, but we could really see Disney California Adventure so well, including some of the nighttime spectaculars. So that's a little bonus to be staying on that side of the building in the first place. But yeah, so first impressions coming into that room, it's pretty big. I mean, I guess just for a standard hotel room, it's about the same size. But I was impressed with the bathroom because it had a glass shower, glass walled shower, stand-up shower. The downside of that is like I have kids, so there's no bathtub to give them a bath. So cleaning them was a little more difficult, but it was overall like gorgeous. You could tell it's very Disney themed, very Pixar themed. I like that little backdrop that they have with all the different characters from the different movies. Very concept art looking. We had 2 twins. I know they have the option of like a king or 2 twins. We had the 2 twins queen options. The couch actually turns into a bed, so that's good to know if you have a few more guests in mind. It also has its own desk station. Has your name of the reservation on the TV when you walk in, which was kind of a cool surprise. It kind of reminded me of when we stayed at Disney World, kind of that same feeling that it's a little more like homey. You're greeted also with this awesome brochure about like Disney, the Pixar Place, excuse me. They also have some art for you to look at too, some of their concept art, which you can actually purchase downstairs in the store. But I loved it. I'm all about theming, and this was a wonderful place to stay. And the kids liked it so much they told us we have to go back there. So yeah, get ready for that if you have kids.
And they have all the standard stuff like a fridge, microwave, that good stuff.
They do have they have a fridge, microwave. They do have a Keurig. So, and that comes with complimentary Keurig cups or K-cups. They have glasses there for you. They have like the glasses for not just water, but also coffee, which it's pretty awesome. I like that they had that as an option. Of course, your standard bucket of ice you can get down the hall. But yeah, the room was wonderful.
And one of the things that I noticed that I look for in all the hotel rooms are USB charging spots.
Yes.
Because we bring a lot of electronics. We bring portable power banks for our phones while we're in the park. And so having a lot of spots to plug things in when you're sleeping is a real big plus. The hotel that we stayed at didn't have very many of those, but I noticed that there was quite a bit in the nightstands. Even.
Yeah, exactly. It was all part of it too. So the nightstand itself in between the beds had like 3 or 4 USB outlets, excuse me. But they also had the standard, charging banks that they had as well, and the clock that they happen to have in the room. I'm pretty sure they tried to keep that standard. I think it was one of those iHomes. But either way, it can actually charge your phone by just placing it on top of that. So that was pretty nice. So we could use all the other power banks for, our watches and things like that. And on top of that, on the side of the bed, on the other side of each bed, they had a floating shelf So if someone, had a place to put their phone or just need a little extra space, it's not very big, but it seems to be almost for people that also like to read, because on the side of the bed too, you could flip out and it does have a light. So if you were still reading a book or something like that, it wouldn't wake everybody else, and you can still, do that. But yeah, that was kind of cool.
So one of the things I was impressed with when I walked in the lobby was the theming. I think the theming for this hotel is probably better than the other hotels. I mean, the Grand Californian, if you've ever been in there, it's really fantastical looking when you walk in. It's very extravagant. The Disneyland Hotel has some pretty cool things to look at, but as far as the overall theming top to bottom, I think the Pixar actually is better than the other two. So you got to explore the hotel a little bit more than I did. Let me know about some of the cool stuff you saw.
And something that was probably standard the second you walked in, what's the first thing you saw?
It's the Pixar ball.
Is the Pixar ball. I think the Luxo ball, I think is what it's called. I think Luxo's the lamp. But it's kind of a cool sight to see, because that's just the way they built it. It looks like, how's it doing that? Because it looks like it's like actually sitting on the ball. Going along with the theming, the music. They have playing throughout the whole hotel. It's a lo-fi version of many Pixar songs, which you could actually download, and this isn't a point to put in here for our channel or anything, but on Spotify and iTunes they also have the same album that you can get. It's like the Pixar Hotel. And on top of all that, the first thing that happens, the first night we arrive and do our check-in process, we see Joe playing the piano, Joe from Soul. And he's so good. Not just playing the piano, but playing that character. That actor was playing the part, interacting with the crowd that was gathering around him. Our kids were dancing, and so he started like talking about the kids. Like, that's what I like to see. That's what I like to see. And yeah, it was wonderful. It was kind of like definitely a moment where I was like, all right, we made a good choice for the hotel. And of course, just besides the rooms, the pool area was just awesomely themed as well. Very Pixar short themed. So yeah, that was one of my favorite parts actually.
Oh, and speaking of the theming too, I thought this was a really cool touch. So when you look down at the carpet, you can see like the silhouettes.
Silhouette.
That's the word I'm looking for. You see the silhouettes of all the Pixar characters in the carpet, but then each floor you go to is themed differently for each different movie. Mm-hmm. So we didn't even get to check out all of those. We saw a couple of the floors there, but like one floor is Incredibles and one floor is Up, and there's 15 floors there.
Yeah, 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, when that elevator door opens up, the first thing you see is a huge mural, or this painting in general, a concept art for a Pixar movie. So yeah, the one we stayed on was...
It was Up, right?
Up, yes. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and then in the lobby, there's a lot of cool, there's sculptures down there. Yeah. There's a lot of concept art.
The wire figuring, they kind of show you almost from A to Z. They start with the drawing, then they eventually get to the wire framing for the 3D framing. They make the clay molds, which I want to say I've read those were original, that they got from the people that molded them for the movies, and they were able to take a few and put it behind glass cases. But that's something to explore and look at yourself when you're down in that lobby.
Okay, let's talk about some of the amenities that are there. So one of the things I was excited to check out was the coffee bar that's actually down in the lobby there. What was the name of that place?
Sketchbook Cafe.
Yeah, Sketchbook. Yeah. So you go down there and it's, got some of your typical just like pastries and coffees and stuff, but they have like a build your own coffee cold brew type thing down there. How is that different than a regular cafe?
Well, in some ways it's not. I just love the theming, but it is a little more build your own, for instance, because they do offer coffee ice cubes. So if you're making your cold brew, it doesn't water down your drink. So that's pretty awesome that they offer that. I had a seasonal, it looked like on the menu, it said like mint, chocolate, blended, very sugary drink, and it was wonderful.
Yeah, they have a few unique flavors there too. I think it's probably seasonal stuff, but it was different than what you find at a lot of the other coffee shops around there.
Another amenity that I found just awesome was their gift shop, which was, I think it's pronounced Store-E, kind of like Wall-E, but it looks like store with that red E at the end. Of course, it has the standard gift shop things that are themed for the hotel. So Pixar, board shorts and swimsuits, things like that. There were a few unique items that you won't find in the parks. And I did pick up a few things, so like a pin that's for like the Pixar hotel, and then a big old magnet too. And they have more than that. There's just a couple things to name out, but they do have a game for kids in there too. So Forky likes to hide among all the store amenities and different things that you can purchase. If you find him, you can tell the person at the front desk and they'll give you a sticker. And actually the person working was wonderful and said, I could actually put it on a pin for you. So it was more of a button. So she kind of just wrapped it around a button for my daughter to wear. And so I thought that was pretty cool. It says like, I found Forky or something like that. And they do mix it up every single day. So Forky will never be in the same place twice. So definitely keep an eye out for that. And they do have an area, if you have some older kids, like 5, 6, 7, 8 range, they have an area for them to be drawing pictures. So that's kind of cool. They have a bunch of coloring crayons and different sheets for different Pixar characters to color. And so that was pretty awesome to keep my daughter busy while I'm kind of shopping in the same area. But yeah, I thought that was a pretty neat gift shop.
Now, the other thing I was super excited to check out was actually the pool. So if you know anything about the hotel, the pool is up a couple floors. So it's kind of like a rooftop pool, and it's got a water slide, and there's a lot of really cool things there. So we got to go there actually at night.
Yeah.
And the water's warm, and it was fairly warm when we were there too. So it was probably mid-80s by the time we got to the pool, but not too busy by the time we were there.
Yeah,
but there was still,
it wasn't.
A lot of room to swim. There's a hot tub. There's a splash pad. There's a water slide to go down there. They have some games. We got to get shuffleboard. And there's a couple other little games down there that were pretty fun to play. And there is also a snack bar up there. So that's open pretty late too. I think they serve food until
I think 10.
10 o'clock. Yeah. So you can order like chicken strips, or you can order like a little charcuterie board, and they have drinks down there, alcoholic and non-alcoholic. So there's a pretty good selection of stuff to choose from. And one of the other really cool things is at night, I don't know if it's nightly or if it's just on certain nights, but they actually show Pixar movies on the pool deck.
Yeah, I think that's just one of the activities they happen to be doing that night.
Yeah. So they showed The Incredibles while we were there, so we got to kind of eat our snacks and play some shuffleboard and watch The Incredibles.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Kids got to play in the pool. They had like a lounge area. They had pretty big couches and things that just sit around. They had campfires going. So it's a really cool area. And kind of as a bonus, you can actually see the fireworks from the balcony, which, funny story, we didn't know that. So it was time for the fireworks, and we thought you go up to the top floor. So we spent the entire time.
We went to the very top floor, 15th floor. Like, there's nothing up here.
We walked
you can kind of see some fireworks, but yeah, that wasn't it.
Yeah, by the time we got back down to the pool deck, the fireworks had ended. So.
And the crowd's coming through. We're like, where are we going? Oh, we watched the fireworks.
Yeah, so don't make the same mistake we did. Go to the pool deck if you want to watch the fireworks from the hotel.
Yes. That's a pretty cool thing they offer too. They did tell us that not only can you see the fireworks, they project through the speakers the music that they're playing on Main Street. So you're not really missing out. Besides that experience of being there, of course, it is pretty nice, especially if your kid's tuckering out and you look back and you see this big crowd you're gonna have to fight through to get back to your hotel. It's a pretty cool way to see the fireworks, experience that moment, and then get right to bed.
Yeah, no crowds to worry about at all.
Nothing.
Now, one of the big perks about staying at a Disney hotel is you get access to early entry, which means 30 minutes before the park opens every single day, you get into the parks to some select rides before anybody else does. Yeah. This is something that we got to experience there, and so there's a couple different entries that you can get there. Jacob, why don't you talk about some of those special entries for guests?
So if you're staying at the Pixar Place Hotel, it has its very own entrance into Disney's California Adventure. Kind of across the street, almost as if you're going to the Grand California Hotel, and you take a right. Literally, there's a sign that says for Pixar Guest Hotel entrance or whatever. So like the second you use your key card to open it, you kind of have your own entrance to a security spot where they check your bags, and then where you come out is actually over by the Corn Dog Castle, and kind of the store on the pier, kind of around the pier from that area. So it is on the other side of Disney California Adventure, so you kind of have to decide what you're going to be doing for your early entry. But it's so cool just to walk in and have nobody in the park. You could go on that Little Mermaid ride and you'd have no line whatsoever. In fact, you could probably go on it a few times, but we kind of did different strategies for that too, and it kind of gave me ideas for next time.
We actually got there kind of late too, so we got to tag along with them on one of the days. We got into early entry like 5 minutes before the actual park opened, but we were able to walk across to Radiator Springs, and we got in front for cars, and we waited like 15 minutes.
It wasn't bad at all. Yeah, that was worth it.
Just a real quick pointer on using early entry if you're at one of the resort hotels. So the gates for Disneyland and California Adventure open at 7:30 when the park opens at 8 o'clock, so it's a half hour before. There's no separate entrances in the main gate for park guests and for your just general admission. So if you show up like right before 7:30 and there's already a line and they start letting people through, you're gonna have to wait to get through the gate before you actually can get to your early entry spot for hotel guests. So you're just going in with general entry. Now, show up earlier if you're going there, but extra early if you're going to be using one of these side entrances, because there's typically just one security spot, maybe two in certain areas, and that's very, very slow. If there's a long line trying to get through security, you may be spending an entire half hour just waiting to get through that. So it's something to keep in mind. Don't show up at the last second, because you will not be able to take advantage of early entry.
Right. Another perk to staying at a Disney hotel, it just including Pixar since we stayed there, is that while buying gifts at gift shops in like any of the parks, you can ask the person at the desk to send it to your room. So that's a pretty cool perk for people that don't want to be lugging around a bunch of items. So if you're in that, and that actually includes World of Disney in downtown. So if you let them know, hey, I have all these things, is there any way you can get this to my room? They will make sure it goes straight to your room. So when you come back, your stuff will be there. So that's pretty awesome to take advantage, and I do recommend it because I forgot. Another perk, not that other hotels don't have customer service, but I have to say something. The Pixar Place Hotel had probably some of the best customer service that I've ever had staying at a hotel. Not just because they're already going above and beyond and you paid probably a little bit more to be there, but they make sure that you're taken care of. So the hotel elevators, they consider them smart elevators, weren't always functioning properly. And that's just because people are coming down from the hotel at the fireworks. So when that's happening, they're kind of malfunctioning in the sense that you're waiting a lot longer. So they were really good about letting everybody know, hey, like, we're very sorry about this, but we'll take you through the elevators in the back that are like service elevators to get us to our room, because we don't want to be sitting there all night. So that was one awesome thing I have to say about that staff. I mean, another thing is just the staff that's waiting on everybody. So if you just see a maintenance worker around, they were actually willing to help us. When we had a bunch of kids, we were looking for the ice machine for the ice bucket, and this gentleman said, here, give it to me, I'll get it to your room for you. So I thought that was amazing. Like, that's not his job at all, and he took his time to go get just a bucket of ice, which was like on the 15th floor, because a couple of them, they were still doing construction on the side of the building, so he went out of his way to do that multiple times, like when he saw us. And on top of that, there was another worker that, when they're bringing it to our room, saw that we had a stroller to be put together. Long story short, we had to buy a new stroller. He put it together for us while we were doing that. So that was wonderful. Those cast members that work in those hotels go above and beyond. So that's another reason to stay there if you're needing another reason, because they'll make your stay wonderful. And another thing, tagging on to what Brian said about the pool, they, unlike maybe some other hotels, like kind of like the Grand California Hotel, they're very lenient on guests coming in. What I was very impressed with is that right at the gate, like before you enter the pool, I was a little nervous because I knew he wasn't staying at the hotel. So, they're giving us wristbands, and they were saying, are you coming here as a guest or a hotel attendant? And we were kind of like, oh, you guys allow that? Like, yeah, we have people that come here all the time that may have families staying down the street, and it's no big deal. We'll make sure you have a wristband that you're able to come back into the pool area and utilize all the things that were on that floor. So I thought that was impressive. I really think that's amazing. I know some places, like the Grand California Hotel, you need to have your hotel key with you to even access that pool, and they will not let anybody else in. But unlike that, Pixar Hotel was awesome.
All right, so let's talk about a couple pros and cons of why you may or may not want to stay at this hotel. And one of the perks that I think is awesome about this is just how close it is to the parks when you compare it to a lot of other hotels. Now, with the exception of like the Grand Californian that's literally attached to the park, it's one of the closest hotels you can stay at. And with those special entries to DCA and the early access that you have for the parks, I think that it's one of the better options in terms of how far you need to walk to access the parks or to get back to the hotel itself.
Of course, we mentioned it earlier, but another pro of staying at a hotel like this, the Disney hotel, is that the theming that you won't get probably elsewhere. A lot of the hotels that are more like good neighbor hotels try their best to kind of include some Disney memorabilia or Disney like gifts that are like in glass cases or out for people to see. But this, of course, Disney goes above and beyond. No matter where you stay, they'll do something to make it extravagant. But yeah, definitely theming is a big pro on this one.
Another pro would be some of the amenities that are available. It's got a great outdoor pool area. It's got a really good gift shop. There's a nice cafe inside. So some of the amenities are just a little bit better than what you're going to find at most hotels in the area.
Another pro, of course, is the service that you get, the customer service that, you kind of see standard at, Disney hotels, Disney parks. They don't disappoint. So if you're looking for, a hotel and that's important to you, I recommend this one.
Now, about the only con that we could come up with, at least, is the price.
Yes.
It is going to be on the spendier side. It's the cheapest of the Disneyland Resort Hotels, but it is going to be pricier than most of the other ones in the area. Now, this is what drives a lot of people away from staying at one of the resort hotels, and the argument that I always hear, why would I pay so much money for a place to sleep if I'm only going to be there to go to sleep and be in the parks the rest of the day? Now, that was the way that we were for a long time.
Yeah.
Kids kind of change that.
Yeah, for sure.
And then when you're not 22 years old anymore, it's a little bit harder to walk all day and be out in the heat.
Sure.
Sometimes you want the escape to get back to your hotel. Sometimes you want that larger pool area or some of the extra amenities. And so when you're spending more time at the hotel, especially if you have an entire day just to relax outside of the parks,
Absolutely.
then it starts to weigh itself out a little bit better. Now, I know that price still might be a stopping point for a lot of people. I'm not saying that everybody can afford to stay here, but if you can, I think it's actually pretty good value for all the things that you get. Now, you guys actually got special value compared to what you would normally get. Why don't you tell us about that deal?
So when we found out later, because like I can't remember exactly the price. Of course, it was still spendier than any of the hotels I've stayed at nearby, but they were still doing some construction. We didn't hear any of it, but towards like the end of the building, they were still kind of fixing up rooms, making sure that they're looking nice and neat before they open them up. So we did get kind of a chunk of the price knocked off. So that was kind of a cool, I had no idea moment. But yeah, that was kind of a perk to staying there too. And most likely seasonal is another thing that you'll see drive the price up and down. If you're going during Christmas time, you're probably gonna see that price go up. So definitely the off season can also help you in your budget if you really do want to stay at the Pixar Hotel.
So another way that you can actually get some cool deals is by visiting Getaway Today. We're actually travel partners with them, and they often have some pretty cool package deals available for the resort hotels. So if you're interested in staying at the Pixar Place Hotel and you don't want to pay face value for that, check out Getaway Today. We're going to put a link on the screen. You can call 1-855-GETAWAY, tell them that RTD Adventures sent you, and they've got deals throughout the year, and there's all sorts of different specials that go on. So you can save and actually have them help you plan your trip for you. They've got the best deals anywhere that you can find on these hotel packages. So if you're interested in checking that out, again, link is on the screen, or call 1-855-GETAWAY. Tell them RTD Adventures sent you.
Yeah, no, they actually saved me about $1,000 because it said like what the original price would have been, but like with the savings and on top of the fact that it was probably like an off season or whatever, that was pretty awesome. So, kind of summing up all this. So, should you stay at the Disneyland or the Disney Pixar Place Hotel? Absolutely. If it's within your budget, if it's during a time that maybe, it could be a little cheaper for you. But either way, if you can afford to stay there, I highly recommend it. It's great for kids, great for families, great for proximity, customer service, and seriously, every single time, and I'm not just saying this, you come into the hotel, it feels like you're coming home. There's something about the middle of the day when it's hot and you're kind of trudging along, and then you come back and you see someone at the door greeting you, and then you walk into that lo-fi, Pixar music. It was like a breath of fresh air. So I highly recommend it if you're thinking about it.
So let us know, are you interested in staying at the hotel? Have you actually stayed there before? If you have, I want to know about some of the things that we may have missed. Tell us about your experiences in the comments section down below. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Don't forget to stay tuned. We've got some more fun stuff talking about our recent Disney trip coming up, but just want to end this like we always do by saying,
Thanks for watching.